When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream. When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.
Welcome to Neutral Voices, the place where your voice matters. This is our amazing Wednesday live show.
Yes, it is.
And live is where we laugh,
Inspire, live, and educate.
Yes, I love it. And I think,
educate.
listen, tonight we're going to have an interesting conversation.
Yes.
Listen, I don't really know if it's interesting because we had a little conversation before we actually
Right. We can't have that one
got
on the
on
line.
it. Okay, we better not. It's pretty rough. We getting ready to talk about the prison system.
Yes.
So not just on a local level, but just the prison period. Okay.
Right.
I think we want to get like all the way in there, don't we?
Yes, we need.
We want to find out what's we
No,
don't
we
want to
don't
get
wanna
in there, but
get
we want to find out.
No.
And we want to educate people
I don't wanna
about
go.
the prison system. Listen, ultimately, we want to keep them out of prison.
Yes.
So I think with some of the things we may share, you may decide that this definitely is not the place for you.
Right. It's
But you
not
know
the
what?
place for
Before
me.
we get too far in this, think about how many innocent people end up in prison.
Yes.
I mean, okay, that's one thought. Now, what type of innocent people am I talking about? I'm talking about people that hit and keep going. You know, they hit somebody, they run over somebody. I thought it was a deer animal. I didn't know, etc. And then they end up in prison. A good person, and then boom, here they are.
Well,
I don't care if it's 6 months.
Right.
Well,
Prison is prison.
I'm gonna go another way with you. What about that innocent man that can't afford that lawyer
Or bail.
or bill?
That
And
too.
they sit like in New York. They sit in
They
there.
sit there.
They sit there. They can't afford bail.
Khalif. What was Khalif's name?
Exactly. That's right.
He was there for what?
Browder.
Khalif
Browder.
3
Browder.
years.
For 3 years
Over
and
a
never
stolen
had a
backpack.
trial.
And then
Over
look,
a stolen
and then look
backpack.
how his story ended.
Yeah.
Correct.
See,
so
so-
I mean, we got to look at.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And so, I just wanted to, because I was thinking about that. But so here's a question. Do you guys think that the 13th Amendment actually abolished slavery?
No.
No. I
no,
personally
no.
feel that the 13th Amendment didn't abolish it at all. I think what it did was allow
Modern
an
day.
opening for slavery to be reformed into the prison system.
Modern day
Now,
slavery.
reform, we almost need to look that
Yeah.
up. Look
Actually,
the
the
word
13th
reform up when it comes to the prison system.
Yes.
That's your homework.
Yeah. Yeah, and you're right. The 13th Amendment actually transitioned slavery into the actual, because after the people were kicked off the plantations, they had no
Nowhere
place
to
to go. So therefore, that's when all the vagrancy laws came in. That's where all these other laws came in that instituted people going to prison. And when they went to prison, what did they do? They rented them out to their plantations and farms that were still existing to do the crops and the slave jobs that they were doing.
Right.
Now they're being rented out to do those jobs.
Well, I mean, it's same difference. Now you have the chain gang. You have the guys that actually go and fix roads and pick up stuff
Okay.
off the roads
Yeah.
that are in prison.
Wow.
Actually, man, if
It's
you
free
believe it or not, a lot of these cold calls and like credit cards and trying to get you to sign up, a lot of telemarketers and customer services
Mhm.
are in prison systems.
Yeah.
So you giving prisoners your vital information.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
I don't get
And
nobody my
they make at minimum, and that's top tier, $30 to $35 a day. A day.
No.
Yeah, so
it's
that
less
is-
than that.
I said top tier.
No, yeah, because I know some you talking $35 a week,
Yeah.
and then you not know like they still have to buy their own grooming stuff,
Yeah.
lotion, soap. You know, if they want a snack or something, they
Right,
have to
right,
pay for that. And do you know how much it costs? A normal pack of Roman noodles that we'll buy for what,
A
15 cents?
Yeah.
How about $1.25?
Wow. And see, I couldn't tell you because I haven't had to buy them. But listen, so before we go grocery shopping in the prison, real quick, I just want to talk about the women in prison. So it's kind of sickening. One of the things as I was doing research was I found out that even some women, when they're pregnant
Mm-hmm.
and they're going through labor, I mean, like they still have these women in handcuffs.
Yeah,
Yes.
there was
Going through
actually-
labor and trying to have a baby.
There was an article, I don't remember where it was, recently that talked about a woman's pregnancy where she literally gave birth in her cell by herself. I mean, I have to look that up. to
Wow,
reference it,
man.
on our page, but yeah, that's definitely.
I just heard about that.
Yeah,
And
that's
she's
definitely
suing, you know,
an
because
issue.
she wasn't getting the proper treatment or anything such as that. So, I mean, you got to think about, now, understand when I say this, if you're in prison for something you did and you were convicted of,
Mhm.
yes, you're deserving to be there. Now, I don't say the treatment is right, but
Mhm.
yes, if you have committed a crime beyond a shadow of a doubt and you're there, then yes, you deserve that. But I don't agree with the treatment.
But
and the
let's be real,
facilities
Clarence.
that they
Leading
have.
up to that, though, there are systems put into place that can actually put a person there. Now, I'm not saying that somebody that murders somebody shouldn't be in prison, but what I'm saying is there are so many things that have led up to that point that we need to really look at because prison is a trap, especially for the black community.
That's
It
right.
is another way to control. If you think back to slavery, what happened? What happened when the slave, the father, was taken out of the home?
That's right.
Nothing short of what is happening today with the prison system.
So mass incarceration is like the new Jim Crow.
Absolutely.
man.
Yeah, man.
Hands down.
You
And
just
no
not-
matter how many
Hands
times,
down.
people think that the system is broken, it is absolutely not broken. It is working exactly the way that it's supposed
It
to,
was designed to.
dating since slavery to today.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. You build more jails and close more schools,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
and it costs what, $10,000 to school a child,
Uh-huh.
and costs
Versus
$20,000
To
to house a prisoner. Now, how backwards is that?
Right.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But you know, it is what it is, and where Jill was saying, and I'm not saying it is what it is, but Jill, I do agree that there are some systems, like we talked the prisoner pipeline in school.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, they set up this paperwork and this track record that yes, it's a vicious cycle. I will agree with you on that. But now for the ones that just out here raping children,
Right. Which there will always be those. Absolutely.
yeah, those people get what they get.
They absolutely do.
They get what they
absolutely
get.
do.
I can't feel sorry for them.
Well, I mean, it's funny. You can rape somebody and get less time than robbing a bank.
I agree. That's crazy.
That's
but it
the-
also depends on what color you are. I'm not
And
gonna
how much
front.
money you have, like you were saying earlier with the lawyer.
Well, I mean, even with
Attorney.
that,
If
I
you're
mean,
just
what you-
tuning in, excuse me, this is Neutral Voices. We're talking about the prison system.
Yes.
So please feel free to leave a comment. Do not forget to click like and share and subscribe to our YouTube page, please.
I found something interesting when I was doing my research. I just want to read it real quick. It's a sentence. So it said, the U.S., as a result, the United States is the only nation in the world with 250% more prison cells than hospital beds, which
Wow.
became very prominent during COVID.
Yes, yes.
The United States is the only nation in the world with 250% more prison cells than hospital beds.
Oh, wow.
And if you remember, when they were running out of hospital beds, what did they want to do?
Mhm.
They wanted to start letting people out of prison. Nobody ever talked about letting anybody out of prison before, but now they ran out of hospital beds.
Right.
250% more prison cells.
I mean,
Exactly. So-
that breaks it down to this, and this is how I look at it.
Break it down like you in the barbershop for me.
Break it down.
I
Like
mean, you know, we don't have
this.
cameras.
Can I talk? Can I talk hood?
Talk. Yes, just
Talk
break
hood.
it down.
At the end of the day, they are throwing people. They are throwing my brothers and sisters in jail.
Yeah.
For absolutely nothing. I mean, literally, I can go out here and smack somebody, and you get tossed in jail for assault and get 20 years, and Jill could go out here and have a pound of cocaine and get 2 days.
Right. And I mean,
and that's honest to God truth.
But why did you say that? Why did you point Jill out?
Because Jill is
she's
white.
So she's her white privilege. So that's white
she's
card.
white.
Okay, so now when I'm looking at Jill, I'm thinking about myself because of how they do women.
Right.
So with black women, they will toss us in jail faster than they will a white woman. But women altogether, they will toss us in there faster than and give us a higher crime rate or more years in prison. I'll put it like that. Than even men. Yes. So they make it harder. So as far as the women, I mean, it's like it's growing. The number of women that's incarcerated is ridiculous.
Well, I mean, the number of women that are incarcerated, and I'm just gonna be honest. Y'all out here doing some scandalous stuff.
What?
Y'all out here, y'all set up queens.
I don't know about this set up queens.
Y'all set up queens. Y'all killing. Y'all doing just the things that men are doing.
I mean, maybe so, but I'm saying they could get caught with bare minimum. But the amount of time, the punishment is going to be greater, grandiose compared to men.
That is, and you talk about slavery, you talk about the unfairness of the prison system. That is across the board. Now, we can say because they consider most African American, black, whatever you call yourself, at the lower echelon of the economic structure. Mm-hmm. So we get 10 times more of the sentence than anybody else.
Right.
If Dr. V, I'm gonna use black man to black woman.
Mm-hmm.
If we were married and I killed you, I'm probably gonna get life. You're going to get a chance to get out if you kill me because they're going to see you. They're going to find you more sensitive and things like that. So there's grading. Now, if you kill me, if I kill you and you're my wife, that's murder. But if Jill killed her husband and they're both white, that's a crime of passion.
Yeah, because he was a jerk.
No. It's
you're right. It's a crime of passion.
Yeah.
And that's the thing.
So because of the grade of her, we do the same crime. But the prison system is graded, and that's how it determines how long you get.
Yeah, if you kill somebody, you're a mad black woman.
And I want to give.
And I'm dead serious.
I want to give E an example. And I don't know if anybody ever seen this movie called White Boy Rick.
Yeah, I seen it.
About a he was 15-year-old drug dealer in Detroit.
It's based on a true story?
Yes, it's a true story.
Okay.
He was 14 or 15 at the time. Might have been 17 when he got sentenced. Okay. That was when the mandatory minimum came out. Mm-hmm. He got the mandatory minimum. He was the first person sentenced in Michigan under the mandatory minimum. They tried to overturn that law so fast.
Because he was white.
Because he was white.
Well, and even with the teens, if you have a 17-year-old black male walk into a mall and open up fire, he's a gangster, he's a thug, he's this, he's that, selling drugs. But the same white guy, I'm going to call it the Rittenhouse rule. The same white guy can walk in and do the same thing. And
he's mentally ill.
His meds. So I mean, it goes down to women, men, adults. It just keeps going.
Absolutely. So we understand that it's definitely not fair.
Not fair
for sure.
No,
okay, but let's get into the prison. I mean, I know we don't want to go there, but let's talk about what happens in prison. The unfairness and the punishment and the way the guards treat the prisoners. Let's talk about that a little bit.
I'm gonna.
Can I
go ahead?
Stats before we get
yes,
so we can understand. And Jill hit on this, and I had a different number, but American prisons house 1.5 million individuals. It has increased by 390% since 1978. The growth is persistent, even if it faces overwhelming decline of crime rates since the 90s. But think about this. They say that crime rates went down, but more people are going to prison. How is that possible? Explain that to me.
Well, I don't know about all of that, but I will tell you this. When you realize that it's a paycheck for, the government, basically.
Yeah, it is.
So there's an agreement somewhere that was made that they open more prisons, then there's an agreement that we'll keep them filled.
Yes.
Yeah,
those are mainly the private prisons.
Yes.
Those when you saying right there is the private prisons.
Right.
That means you own a prison.
Yes.
I'm the judge.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna send them.
Hey, E, I'm gonna need you to slide them on through there.
Absolutely.
And just like the guy in Ohio,
Ohio, yes.
judge in Ohio,
Yeah.
he was throwing kids to this private prison
in Pennsylvania.
That wasn't, I mean, literally, that wasn't doing anything wrong.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So there's a cycle. So
Yeah,
it's a cycle.
It's set
It's
up
a vicious cycle. And he
that
was sending
way.
more black kids than he was anything
Absolutely.
else.
And so that's why, we already mentioned that as far as where it starts. So
Right.
even in the school with the resource officers, so
Yeah.
they get
Yeah.
out of school and graduate or not. But this is like the next level.
This is your next
It's
stage.
in the equation,
It's
so
in the
to
equation.
speak.
It's factored in.
And so that's why one of the things that definitely has to happen is parents have to educate their children on even the prison system. Just like, do y'all remember real quick before we get into this? And I see a good friend of mine up here. But do y'all remember something called Scared Straight?
Yes.
It used to
Yeah,
come on a
yes.
long time ago.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, if I was a parent, I would be like, you need to sit down and look at this.
I think there's
You know,
a newer version on there, but it's
Well,
it's
I
watered
don't-
down for TV.
Okay, it shouldn't be watered down because that probably scares some people straight. This is Neutral Voices, and we do have a comment from Roderick Parker. How are you?
What's up,
And-
Rod?
What's up with you,
Hi,
brother?
Yes,
Roderick.
and welcome, and thank you for commenting. So let's read this first, Jill.
So Roderick says, I have served time. Some of the sentencing guidelines are totally unfair. And what do we do to change that?
First,
Absolutely, and that's
honestly-
why we're having this discussion.
Honestly, I would say, and this is what I tell anybody, you vote locally and statewide. You get these people out of the office that's making these crazy laws. That's the main thing. Screw voting for the president. The main thing, we have to vote state and locally. And we have to make
You
sure
preaching right
whoever
there.
we put in that office
That's it.
is
preaching right
is
there.
is on our level.
You
Is
preaching right
listening to what we need and what we want. Screw
And see-
everything else.
And that's right. And that's how come I'm thinking. So when we start talking about being fair, and so I agree with Roderick, it is unfair. And the same crime should have the same punishment.
Well,
Yeah,
it should, but it doesn't. And,
Come on,
and the-
Doc.
That's
And-
I
and-
know,
come
but
on,
I'm
Doc B.
seeing. So that's something to push for,
Yeah.
right there. So
Fair-
he says,
fair
how
and
do we
equal
change
sentencing.
that?
yeah, and,
That's
and-
one of the things we should be fighting for: equal punishment for that particular crime.
But here's the thing: once you, and I'm gonna tell you this: once you in the system, you
lose
in
all
the
your
system.
rights.
You. It's hard to get out,
Mhm.
regardless of what, because even when you come out of jail and you do your time, you still have to go through all these extra this, that, and the other, jump through all these hoops.
That's right.
And still trying to prove that you're a citizen. No, once you're done, you should be pure.
You should be done.
Done,
And you know
period.
what, E? And you're right. That's why I call that prison after prison.
Yes.
And that's one of the things. So, that's just let's keep it real. People get out of prison. They have, I don't care, 2 years, 10 years. They did the time.
Right.
They get out of prison, and it seems like there's a whole new prison waiting for
you.
them.
Right.
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 And
It
then,
is.
first of all, hopefully there's something set up in your community as far as reentry
Right.
Well,
and
no.
helping you to be able to rehabilitate yourself through a, system for a particular amount
Well,
of time.
your reentry.
But that's not.
Your reentry
case.
is, and I know in this state, well, in this city, you come out of jail, your reentry is you got to do 3 months on house arrest. Why? I did my time. Just because you let me out early. Now, no, they actually make you get out early, so you have to be on reentry.
Now, does it have to do with dollars? Because
That's
am I
all it's
correct
about.
that
That's
they
all
have
it's
to
all
pay?
about. Is
Yeah,
the
because you have
dollar.
to pay money to be on house
Yes,
arrest.
you
Am
have
I
to
right?
pay money to be
Right.
on house arrest. Then you got to jump through all their little programs. And then they were like, well, you ain't got to pay because you're on XYZ. Well, A, I don't want to be on reentry. Let me finish my time and be done.
So
Now,
after
that's what I
your
was going to
time-
say. I've heard people say that. I don't want to get out early.
I know.
I
let
just
me,
want to sit my time
let me
out.
finish my
But
time
then
out.
you're in there and you could get in trouble, and now you're in there for another 6 months. I'm saying it's just a vicious
Listen,
cycle. To
it's a
get
cycle
caught up
to get
in.
you, when you get out on reentry, honestly, it's a cycle to put you right back in jail.
Yes.
So basically slavery is shackled, prison shackled,
Mhm.
time after time shackled.
Yes.
Yes.
Continuous cycle of shackling.
Yes.
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 But Doc V, not only the financial burden that they put on people, like he said, your house arrest fees, your reentry fees, your probation fees, your parole fees. You know,
And then you
that's
guys
the
try to get a job to pay all of these
Yeah.
fees.
But
Yes.
that's where I was going to get. Here's a problem. A lot of jobs, you have a felony on your record. Now they're trying to take that
I was
off
getting ready to ask
application.
that.
But a lot of jobs, if you have a felony, they'll do that. But with my case, They don't need to ask you. They just gonna mic case
Yeah.
you and see, So, but if you have a
So let's explain. What is my case, real quick?
my case,
Runs your life.
you can actually go online to my case and you can see anybody's
Yeah.
That's been in jail.
Yeah.
Now, can you see anybody or just the felonies?
anybody.
Anybody
Anybody.
that is
Any
in there.
court record, you can see
Yeah.
anything. From
Mhm.
tax, if you ever had a traffic ticket, it's on there.
Yeah. By name, by attorney,
name,
by
yeah,
case.
yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
everything is there for public record. So even when you, like you said, even after you've done your time, you continue to do your time. I can't even rent to a person who has a felony in an apartment. Period. No ifs, ands, or buts.
Wait a
You
minute.
can't vote.
And that's what I was
Wait,
going to
well,
say.
you
So
can
that's,
vote in the state of Indiana as a felon.
Yeah, but a lot of states you can't.
Well,
Like
no,
Ohio, you
actually,
can't.
and I was going to say, so
it's
after
only,
you,
at this point, it's only like maybe 3 states left.
They've changed that.
Yeah, because if people have got out there, my question is, if I did my time and I still got to pay taxes,
Why can't you vote?
why can't I vote?
I'm with you on that.
okay.
It's just that detrimental.
No,
You have to pay your
okay.
fees, but you can't get a job. You need house arrest, but you can't get a house. I mean,
Okay, let's go behind the walls real quick.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so
I don't want to go behind the wall.
I know, but I'm in there because I
got
just got some
claustrophobia.
questions. So
I
I'm in the
want
big
to-
house.
I'll wait
I'm in the
about
big
you.
house. Listen, and
I
so
put something on your books.
boots or books.
Books.
Okay.
okay, so I'm in a big house, and I'm saying these things seem like they're allowed. Like, are these things allowed? Rape, drugs, robbery, assault. Are these things allowed? Like the guards. It seems like they just turn their back and let
Yes.
these people hash it out and gang to
Now,
gang.
I won't say it's allowed, but I won't say it's not prevalent. And what you said, I wish I had known you was gonna come with this question. I would have had evidence of it. There was these guards in some prison that was running like a fight club, and
Was it the gangs against the gangs?
Yes, they was running like a fight
Okay.
club. But yeah, a lot of that happens in prison, but it's not allowed because they have a judicial. Even in prison, there's a judicial.
Judicial system.
I know,
system
but
in
that's what I
prison.
was gonna say. So they have rules and laws and all of that. But it seems like a lot of the guards don't do their job. Maybe they're overworked.
Maybe they
underpaid.
No, maybe they're underpaid.
That too, and then so they have to look for informants
Yeah.
with the,
Man,
you know what I
listen,
mean? They get
I'm gonna put it like
informants
this.
to
If
do
you- if-
their job. Listen, we have another comment. If you want to do yours, and then we do the comment.
If you and how can I say this?
Just say it.
I'm just gonna be real. If you become an informant inside a prison,
You
you
did.
just signed your death
You
certificate.
did.
But they do it on purpose, and that's what I'm saying. The
Well, I'm just
guards
saying
get
you
the
signed
people.
your death certificate.
You're right, but they don't care if you get
because
killed.
Well, I mean, you have to understand. It's in prison. It's survival of the fittest,
Yeah.
in a lot of in a sense of words.
Oh my God! To those that survive it, so good
So,
for them.
Mildred
has
says,
a comment.
Roderick commented earlier. She said, "What is exactly unfair from your perspective? What are some things that can be done now that you're out? Are you being involved with the change?" Roderick chimes in to say, "So it's definitely voting at a city and state level, like Eric stated. Also understanding the difference in criminals and individuals who are dealing with addiction and mental health. However, things can change. I have a total expungement, and all of my rights have been returned." You bring up a wonderful point with the mental health. So something I want to point out is, what do you think if someone is in prison for 10 or 20 years and they've got a couple kids, they've got a wife,
Mhm.
what happens to that family in the 10 or 20 years? So then he comes back
They don't
out to
care.
do the house arrest, can't get a job because of the
Mhm.
felony. So much mental trauma in there and then out.
And out.
Again,
Well,
after the time is served
absolutely.
for
Hold
both the offender and the family.
That's right.
I'm
It
gonna have
is.
to I'm gonna have to step in on this as far as getting a job as a felon.
Mhm.
Let's straighten some things out. Nowadays, jobs are willing to hire
Yes,
felons.
there are some now.
And that's good.
And the only reason they are willing to hire that felon is because they get a kickback.
Mhm.
It's all about
It's literally is a kickback. They get, and I want to say 15, 16, 17, jobs was getting almost $2,000 per felon they hire.
Well, and kudos to those companies. So
Well,
that's
I mean,
good.
I'm talking about
You
that's
know-
the only reason they was hiring because they getting that $2,000 kickback.
I've
Okay.
seen a publicized list
But-
going around Allen County,
Yeah.
places that will hire.
That's what I was getting ready to say. That's something we need to include. We need to
FedEx,
upload that and include
Walmart,
that to our page.
FedEx, Walmart,
Yes.
Kroger. It's a
Yes.
lot of
It's
We-
a
we
lot.
need to
So I
include
mean,
that
it's a
list.
good thing, but at the same time, is okay. I could hire him at $10 an hour, and I'm gonna get $2,000. I can hire him at $8 an hour. I'm finna get $2,000 for hiring him.
Okay, so we got some other stuff we want to get to. So real quick, I want to just, because we talked about we're in prison, we know the situation. The food is, I heard, the food, sometimes they're serving them food that's molded a lot of the times. Yeah. And so it's just inhumane conditions.
Yes.
And so, but we're paying our tax dollars. They're getting good money. I think that's another one of those things that people need to fight for. I mean, even though we're on the outside, so if they're in there, they got to do the time. That's something that's unfair.
Right. And the
so they shouldn't be feeding them food that's molded and things like that.
Right.
So
inhumane, period.
That's
I don't care what they did. I mean,
or telling you if you have to, defecate or you have to use the bathroom to use your hand to wipe with. I mean, those types of things is just unfair.
Crazy.
What's the place Obama was supposed to close down? Say it. Because I knew I would mess that
Guantanamo
up.
Bay.
There it is. Say it again.
Guantanamo Bay.
Yeah, some of the prison systems are just like that. And so they're talking about the way or comparing it to that.
Yeah.
So just cruelty.
Well, here's one of the key things, prisons are overpopulated.
Yes.
You
Overcrowded,
got
definitely.
spots, and I can tell you Fort Wayne, downtown, when you got 3 to 4 people
In a cell that's
in a
made
cell
for one person?
that's made for 2 people,
Okay.
and there's barely enough room for them 2 people in that cell. It is. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy. So prison, it's a whole new world. I mean, it's a whole, not a new world, but it's a whole different world.
with their own.
And I was going to say they got their own everything, their own language.
Own language,
Obviously,
own
they got
codes.
their own, they got their own
codes.
dress code, obviously,
Well,
and
not
what they're
just
wearing.
dress code,
But
it's just codes.
It's just code.
well,
It's codes of ethics.
yeah, and I'm
It's
getting ready to
codes
get
of
into
survival, not
Yeah.
ethics. It's codes
Well,
of
I mean, in
survival.
prison, is survival or is ethics.
Yeah.
It's certain things that you
And-
gotta know.
And I was going to
to
say, so
survive.
the new person coming in, I mean, obviously everybody know this person coming through the door.
Right.
And so this person, it's going to be hard for them because they, not only do they have to just know who people are, they looking for a CC and
Right.
trying to figure out who
Right.
CC is because somebody told them CC going to hook you up.
Right.
But they got to figure that out, try to figure out how to stay alive. Don't drop the soap, all this other stuff
Right.
they have heard. But then they got this.
Did she say don't drop
They
the
She
got-
soap?
said don't drop the soap.
I'm saying
Everybody
you
heard
don't
that.
heard this.
Everybody
stuff.
heard that.
Anything.
Man, listen.
Everybody heard
And
that.
And so and then they have their whole different language in the prison
Well, see,
system.
when you get in there, I'm just.
You better want to clear some stuff up because
I've
you
never
be
been in
talking like
prison.
you've been in there. So
I've never been in prison. But
this is all research based.
It's
and
all
hearsay.
knowledge. No, it's not here. So
Friends.
just, I know I
Okay,
got
come
people inside. Put it like this: when you walk in there, the inmates already know your resume.
Okay.
Your resume has been late.
So they know what you've done.
They
It
know-
arrived before you got there.
Hey, yeah,
Okay.
your resume hit the door before
Okay.
you even got there. So you got to be ready to rock and roll any which way you want to go, hands down.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. If you ain't ready to rock and roll, hey, you
So you
bond-
in there ready or not? Here I
Yeah,
am.
Here
And
you
so
are.
they speaking this language to you, and you
Your
fish.
first- yeah,
you
you're a
you
new fish.
you
But-
fish.
But
Period.
being a new fish, one of the first things you have to do when you go into prison, depends on what prison you're in. You have to attend the paperwork part.
Yep.
Why
Okay.
y'all looking at me like that?
Well, see, that's that.
Come
that's
on,
that-
what's on the paper?
Well, see,
The
that's that
paperwork
film.
party is you have to take your court transcripts and present them to the people in prison to make sure you're not. Yeah,
Yeah, it's
to make
paperwork.
sure paperwork.
Like I said, they
To
already
make
know
sure
your
you're
resume.
not a snitch.
Yeah.
You can't have your.
So I
name-
gotta tell you what I did.
Yeah.
So I'm literally coming in there with.
Yeah, you gotta have your paperwork.
Papers.
Yeah,
you gotta.
because like I said, they already know your resume.
I didn't even know they give you
So
papers.
you come in there a brand new Nemo and you got it already answered. So
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta validate
Wow.
yourself.
Yeah.
It's a paperwork.
So
party.
you get to see that all I did was a traffic violation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not safe
But
for
see,
me.
one of the
And you
biggest things
just-
is they don't want to
murdered
be
two
around
people?
nobody that's been a snitch. Nowadays, a lot of snitches
Oh.
get tossed in the hole.
So
don't
if
want
I-
to be in general population.
If
because
I'm a
once you-
snitch, it's on my paperwork.
If you,
Oh, that's
if you're a
that-
CI boy, it's a wrap for you.
And you say you get tossed into isolation.
Well,
That's
like-
a whole nother story because
Well, see,
isolation it causes mental
Yeah.
illness.
But see, here's the thing about going to prison and being in prison. You got to understand what you're doing. Because once you walk in there, you got to, like I said, your resume has been laid. They want to see your paperwork. They want to know what you've been on.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like you said, you got to get to the point where, hey, I got to find so and so, because the simple fact, I got to find my clique.
So,
It's just that real.
Yeah.
Some people can escape without being in a clique or but the object is getting in a safety zone.
okay. So we got to get safe, and so I know there's a couple. So let's just this is, since it's educate too. Let's just put out about 4 little slang words from prison besides celly, homie.
Fish.
Homie mean you grew up with them on the block. They get there. Oh, that's my homie. Okay. What? Give us a couple more before we keep it moving.
Brake fluid.
Oh Lord, I
Brake fluid?
couldn't have a
Brake
clue.
fluid.
What's brake fluid?
Brake fluid is actually psychiatric medication. So if you on psychiatric med, they say you off that brake fluid.
You off of it or you own it?
Either one, off of it or on it.
Okay, the brake
Off of
fluid.
it,
Okay.
because you're not
Okay, but the brake fluid is the meds.
that's the med.
Okay. Give us a couple
Do we
more.
know who the author
Give us
is
a couple
of
more,
these?
Clarence.
Give a couple of more.
Give us
Yeah,
a couple
give
more.
This is one that's funny, and y'all got to look this up.
Okay,
We were just talking about this. Mexicans have boots. Have on boots.
that's a code.
That's a code. That means there's about to be a riot. Y'all can look it up. It's on YouTube. It's actually a comedy thing, but it's actually a code about there's
Okay.
about to be a riot.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
That's one. That's interesting. Mexicans got boots.
Yeah, Mexicans got on boots.
Okay. Any?
Hey, that's not true.
Is that?
Hey,
That's,
Ryan, I got a question
we-
for you though, bro.
What riot?
thanks, Rod.
Okay. Hey, Ryan, I got a question for you. Your first day, well, I hope you don't get offended, but what was your first day like in jail, in prison?
The short version.
The short version.
What did you say wasn't true? That's what I was.
Mexican that
Some
had
of
no
the
moves.
slangs, yeah, some of the slang stuff.
Yeah, that's
Side of the
fed.
state?
It's in feds.
So
That's what I wanted
Roderick
to
also
say.
says,
So
Yeah,
it's
that's
different.
fed. That's a fed.
it's
I was gonna say,
truly-
so just so y'all know, before Jill read this, it's different whether you're in the Fed
Oh yeah.
or the state. So
Yeah,
let's
Fed-
clear that up. That we really don't know
Yeah, the
what's
Fed-
going
the
on there.
Fed
Which
joint
one?
is something totally different.
Okay, Jill has a comment. She's gonna read this from Roderick.
It's truly a complicated situation. The system is set to destroy families, specifically minority families. Look, truth of the matter is doing time is really a mental strength test. My daddy always told me that you survived in prison, you can survive anywhere.
Right. That's key.
Wow.
That's key.
Well, is that another comment?
He said, man, I need to be there.
I-
I truly got something to say.
I wish you were. And tomorrow,
Call us. Matter of
Roderick,
fact, hey,
tomorrow.
the voice of the people.
voice of the
Yeah.
You
people.
can come and hang out.
Give
You
him the
can-
number.
Hey, you
Yes.
can call us at 260-310-0663.
663. Okay.
Almost,
Again.
look, almost
Okay.
messed up on it.
260
Listen.
260.
310.
Oh,
0663.
Yeah.
Is that it?
0663.
Okay.
We'll put it in the comments.
Before we have to get out of here, and I know our time wraps up fast, and we will continue slightly tomorrow during our Voice of the People segment. But one of the other things I wanted to mention is, did they take the programs out of
Yes.
prison? Because at one point they could get books, they can write, so they can
One of
find
the
their,
biggest things that
kind of connect to their identity and speak their truth on paper.
one of the biggest things they took out of prison is prisoners getting an education.
They need.
Actually.
That need to go back.
Actually,
Okay,
I'm
Clarence
glad you
had
got on
something
that.
he wanted to say.
Before we get out of here, we're talking about, and Roger asked, how do we make a difference? It has to come from the inside, because a lot of us on the outside of prisons are not going to be able to make, because it's its own world.
Mhm.
Yes.
So the lawmakers, the people, we're not going to be able, we can ask for it, but we're not going to be able to change it, because that's not our world. How they run their world is how they run their world. So it has to be the ones on the inside. But it was saying, prison reform, they need more mental health in prisons. It says found that if you give mental health treatment, it's found to have reduced recidivism by 22%. That
Mhm.
means people going
People
back
going
into
back.
prison.
Mhm.
If they do substance abuse treatment, it reduces it by 48% of reincarceration. Educational and vocational, they say reduces it by 13%, and it keeps everybody, the employment of them is about the same, about 13%. So if you educate them, that 13% is going to stay employed in some form, fashion. So there has to be some kind of reform. And before we get out of here, I always give credit where credit is due. and we need to see if it continues.
Mhm.
But Donald Trump, in December of 2018, he started the First Step Act. And that act is to culminate a bipartisan improvement of prison and the judicial system overall. He was trying to say that they need to relook at everything that's connected to the prison
system
and the judicial system.
and
How
that's
people are treated
100%.
and everything. So if he put that out there, if the current administration, this
Don't.
is something they can't let fall.
Right.
They can't let fall. They have to make this work. Now, we trashed Trump about a lot of things he said and did, but we have to give him credit for starting something that could possibly change lives.
Because don't you agree that the community as a whole is infected and affected by unfair justice system,
Yes.
period?
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's not just the prison,
No.
but it's all of us.
It's all of us.
Because
Yeah.
like you mentioned, families are affected.
Yes.
So no matter how it happens. So that's why
You
we
can't get to the
gotta
prison system
we gotta
unless you
do
go
our
to the
part
justice system.
with the voting at state and
Yeah.
local level too.
Yeah.
Jill, I'm sure you have something for me. It's time for us to get out of here. What do you have?
From shackles to shackles, the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery, did not abolish slavery for those convicted of a crime. The most incarcerated country on earth, shoving millions of people, mostly poor and people of color, into prison day after day, year after year. Has slavery truly been abolished? Or has it simply, yet not so simply, been reformed into what some call and what I call modern-day slavery? They say the system is broken, but I don't believe it is. I believe it's working exactly as it was intended to work and continues to work to keep oppression alive, fathers out of homes, and using prisons as modern-day slavery for the Black community, period. Though slavery may have been abolished, the crippling poison of the prison system still persists, and the struggle will continue as long as it does.
Hey,
Thank you.
Amen.
Wow.
we
That's
gotta be
good.
fixed.
That's some good stuff. Jill, listen, this is Neutral Voices. Thank you for hanging with us. Do not forget to tune in tomorrow night for
Rod,
the
call
voice
us.
of the people.
Rod,
Roderick,
us.
you want to join us?
Hey,
We
come
will
and
be
sit down
talking
with you if you
about
want to.
our comments, and it will continue tomorrow. The prison system with Neutral Voices. See you next time.
When I say 7, y'all say days. Hunting for the cheese like a mouse in a maze. Been down all my life, mama thought it was a phase. Same OG, guess I'm stuck in my ways. Last night I had a dream.